All right, what's up, everyone, and welcome to the next review episode for Single Player Campaign. Except this week, Peter and I both completely failed to finish our
Welcome to
games.
our Shamecast.
For anyone who doesn't remember, this past month, I was supposed to be beating Golden Sun on the Game Boy Advance, and Peter was supposed to be beating Mega Man Battle Network 3 Blue version. This was his genius idea for us to play through two of our favorite childhood games, and I think collectively we played 3 to 4 hours of these games and then did our own thing for the entire month. So this pod, we're going to talk a little bit about why we failed and what was it about these games that were so just not desirable. And we also gave ourselves a punishment of having to make PowerPoints for what I thought was to discuss what I do know about the game that I failed to beat. But Peter made a PowerPoint about the games he has been playing. So you're going to get two really disjointed presentations, but
we
hopefully
really want
both
to
will be fun.
stimulate. we really want to stimulate that experience of being in fifth grade, wanting to go to lunch at 11 a.m. and realizing your PowerPoint is about the wrong subject.
So Peter's going to go first and give you a totally reasonable presentation about games he's been playing. And then I'm going to follow it up with a completely non sequitur PowerPoint about Golden Sun and how little I know about this game that I was supposed to
We're
beat.
not gonna like Rochambeau it or anything.
Oh, no. You're going first. You're going
Oh,
first. I'm
great.
excited. You
Well, before
tried.
we go, what
Close stream.
I don't really understand why this happened to us in general about like failing to do these games. You know what I mean?
I was
They're
trying to
good games.
pinpoint it.
They're both good games. I know this, or I don't know. At least people like these games.
Well,
So what's wrong with us? Why are we so flawed?
I don't know. It's one of my slides is why did I fail to beat this game? Because
Oh,
like
okay.
most of what I played I enjoyed and I still just didn't do it. I don't know if the Game
Yeah.
Boy was too small and it's just hard to enjoy tiny
Game Boy
screens
screen is
now.
like this big a Game Boy
Like
screen.
is that it? If I was playing
I
the
was playing
world.
mine. I felt that too. I was playing on my DS, and I was kind of like I don't know. My hands were like little claws in there trying to play the game.
Cuz
And
I don't think these games aged poorly. I just like they're so different than what we've been playing and what most people
yeah,
play these days, and it scratches a completely different itch. And I guess we just didn't have that itch this month, or maybe ever anymore. I'm not sure. It's so weird to me that it was so hard to be
I don't
like
know.
I when I actually forced myself to sit down and play it, I enjoyed it, and I was just like, I don't want to do this. I don't know why. I think part of it was that I knew this game is 40 hours long, and I was just like,
I
this
think
is a
it's I don't know.
real
Like,
real commitment.
but you've been playing Ghosts, right?
I
Ghosts is
know.
40
I've
hours
already
long,
played
and
like
that came
20
out last
hours.
year.
I've already played 20 hours and I'm in the first area still.
I
So like
struggle to think of a reason. I struggle to think of a reason that like we would be excited to play a game that came out this year, and the game is the same but 20 years old.
yeah.
It's just something like I don't. I can't find a reason that applies to one and not the other.
I think it's because we didn't pick these games, right? We kind of picked them
Yeah,
for each other, and part of playing a game is being excited for it. It's hard to get excited about a game someone tells you to play that you are not personally excited about. And
yeah.
picking a game to play is usually because of something that's drawing you to the game. And as good as the game may be, if you have no personal connection to it, you're just gonna be like, this feels like homework.
That's a great point. And you and I have a lot of fun doing these games together usually.
Yeah.
And we talk about what's going on and where we are in the game. So that's a personal like investment right there. Like we share the experience together of going through the game.
Yeah, I think that
Uh,
helps when it's not a game that like because we're picking a game from each other's lists, or at least that's what we have been doing. That means
yeah,
one of us hasn't really been like eyeing that particular game. And so
yeah.
playing through it together kind of compensates for the fact that we didn't pick it ourselves.
And something about the lottery too. It's like, okay, my game's up and maybe it'll come, but if it's
Yeah.
not, that's okay. Well, I mean, my game always goes, but uh
Yeah, I wonder if we like were both playing through an older game that required to play on like the Game Boy or something,
I wonder.
would we have had the same experience? I doubt it. I bet we would have made it further.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. We'll have to try it sometime. Maybe we do a like older games only month with our lottery
Yeah.
and just see how far we can get. And instead make it a game neither of us have played.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, I'll talk about Mega Man Battle Network a little bit, I guess,
Well,
before I get started with my
before your
PowerPoint. Because mine's not, my PowerPoint
sure,
doesn't
I
really.
guess you can talk about Mega Man and then do your PowerPoint on games you've been playing, and then I'll do a PowerPoint on Golden Sun and then talk about the games I've been playing.
Yeah. Flippy floppies. We came up with this idea like 2 days
Yeah.
ago.
Also,
But
the video it looks different than our normal setup because my Streamlab or XSplit or whatever I'm using doesn't let me stream both of my two monitors. So
our
I
video editing budget this month is really down to nothing. We
yeah.
used up all our money last year. So
That logo cost a lot to get made, you know.
yeah. Okay, Mega Man Battle Network 3. What do I even remember about this game?
All right,
I didn't play it.
who are the characters in this game? What is the main
Lan.
character's name? Lan.
There's
Yeah.
the main character is named Local Area Network, and he uses his best friend in Psychosis, Mega Man, to jack into the internet. Uh,
hmm
so not much
As
has
one
changed.
does. We're always
One jacks it into the internet all the time, you know? So he goes to school, and all his friends have Mega Men as well. It's a whole host of Mega Mans. One of them is named Chunk. The other is named Brainiac. I don't remember. The
wait.
little girl with the
The,
giant forehead.
the guy's name is Chunk.
I'm
The
just kind of.
Gutsman's
I'm.
owner's name is Chunk.
Yes, that's right. I think it's probably not. I'm just choosing names for them
Oh,
right
okay.
now based on what I remember them looking like. Um,
Uh,
and the other is named Anime Girl.
hmm.
Anyway, the game begins. I didn't play this game that long ago, honestly. I played it like a week ago last time because my power was out because I live in Austin and I
Right.
almost died. And so I tried playing a little bit last year. And last week I actually did make some progress and sort of start to enjoy the game, I will admit, because I started getting new cards.
Yeah.
And I started like, ooh, this card is good, and I like put it in my deck and shit, and I was like,
Yeah, and then you
haha,
draw
I'll use
it.
it on my enemies. Yeah, and then I draw it. There are things that I never. Okay, let me get back to it. So the plot, as far as I can tell, is you're kind of goofing around in middle school and you live in this world where everyone is kind of has a version of the internet that's like a virtual world, and they like project their avatars into it and fight each other and kind of pursue general adventures. Um, and I was going to school or something, and there was a guy
A
who was
guy.
stealing from something from the school. He was stealing from the teacher's lounge, and we caught him there at nighttime. And he hypnotized all my friends, and I had to stop them from being hypnotized. And he used Flashman powers, like flashing
Oh
lights,
man, Flashman's so
out of a
cool.
computer screen. It was cool. I remember being the first time like, yes, it is. It is a game. It's not just getting lost in fucking a maze. And I have this experience because I played maybe 5 hours or 6 hours
That's
of
pretty
Mega Man
good.
in the end.
That's
I
pretty
think I
good.
probably spent 4 of it in level 1 with this giant, endless maze-like version of the internet where you get jumped every 2 feet by these little Rattatas and Pidgeys that you have to dispatch.
Well, that's a
Uh,
thing both of our games share, let me tell
yes, that's true.
you.
Yeah. So I kind of eventually was able to start making it through, but it was pretty maze-like. And I compared this game to Slay the Spire a couple times. But things started to get fun for me when I actually got those cards. But then the enemies got harder, and my cards didn't do anything. There are enemies that would like soar in and like do zigzag movements in my space, and I'm trying to
Oh
like
man,
dodge
it's
them
such
to
a
the side and
cool
shit.
battle system. It's so unique. I've never played anything quite like it.
I agree that it's unique. I did not expect a game like this, and I agree with. And you have observed that it's not exactly like Slay the Spire because you have to worry about your character's placement in your own grid at the same
Hmm.
time, and there's like timing while your thing charges back up, and you manage your hand. I maybe I'm just stupid, but there's a lot of stuff I didn't understand also, or that they
In
explained, and
regards
I
to
was
how
like,
you like load your cards for your attack phase.
yes, you got it. I understood the general, like each of them gets kind of a letter on the kind of Game Boy controls, or a letter of the alphabet, and you can only load in cards to be played of that match like letters most of the time. What I didn't
Asterisks can
understand
go with any
is,
of them.
yes, I figured that one out. What I didn't understand is like they offered an option on to like how to chuck your hand if it's not working. Like there's a second option other than loading the cards, and you can like
Hmm.
discard them.
I
And did you never do that?
there's no way I played this game right. I played it as a kid. I had the strategy guide. There's just like zero chance that I was optimizing my attack phases.
I almost wonder, maybe I should have gotten the strategy guide too, or
I
something.
sent it to you in PDF form.
You did?
Yeah, and it has all of the like internet maps laid out so you don't get fucking lost.
Oh my gosh, maybe I should load it back up.
Yeah,
At any rate, my Mega Man experience has been riddled with guilt generally over the fact that I was not playing it most of the
I don't
time.
help
And
with that.
the clock ticks ever closer. You did a pretty good job this
I
month,
held
I'll admit.
back because I was
But
also failing.
a reasonable job compared to your usual standard of bothering me about how I'm doing these games. But it was especially bad at the beginning because Patrick's Golden Sun game like came in like 3 weeks or something from when it was supposed to be delivered.
Yeah.
And that whole time I had Mega Man, he was like 7:59 a.m. in the morning. I wake up and text like, "How far are you in Mega Man?" I'm like, I don't know.
You didn't
And
even
then
get to fight Bowl
I
Man.
felt so dumb. I couldn't like I'm playing. I'm like, okay, I'm good at games. I can do this. I'll play this game now. And I'll just walk 4 feet and get bombarded, and I would die pretty often, like trying to because I was stuck. Remember, I was stuck with like the basic deck for a long time of like shoot gun, but in a V shape, a million defends or whatever. So my deck, I don't know, I didn't know how to apply it very well or something, and I
You
died a
know,
lot.
I haven't played it since I was a kid. I do remember getting lost in the levels, which is where the strategy guide came in handy because there are so many dead ends in the levels and or just
Yeah,
like dead ends that lead to items. But I remember the game so fondly because there are a lot of really cool chips you get in the game. And eventually,
I liked that stuff.
yeah, the bosses are cool. And eventually you get like these modifications that change Mega Man's base attack. So like his B is like shoot
oh,
the
the pew pew
blaster.
pew.
Yeah,
Oh
and
my god, that would
eventually
be great. That thing did
eventually
nothing.
eventually you get like thematic suits that change your appearance and change that attack. So you get there's like a water one, a fire one, a shadow one that makes you like a ninja. Like and that was the
That
coolest
sounds
thing in the
cool.
entire world when I was a kid. Like
I wanted that.
yeah, and they're like based loosely off of other characters. Like I think you get one that's like pink based on your friend's female Mega Man.
Right. Yeah. I got a
And
card that was like her female Mega Man
yeah,
card. I was like, this
yeah,
is a
yeah,
cool
yeah.
card. I'm gonna
And it
use
like
this.
heals you. But
Yeah.
that was awesome. I remember like the end game. There was a chip called Maramusa, which is like dope ass sword strike. There's just so many cool little things. The boss fights were really memorable, but part of it is of course going to be like shaded by nostalgia, as all of these games are, and whether or
Well,
not.
I'm trying to put that aside for these discussions. I know we both have a lot of nostalgia about these games, but we see a lot of people talking about them, and it's not just us, I suppose.
Yeah, which
Um,
is to say, I think the game probably has like a lot of inefficiencies that make it a slog to play through, and I don't blame you for.
the biggest thing that was an obstacle to me was, and when you're in that first kind of internet zone, you're in like a contest, and it's like, okay, is this true or false? If you think it's true, go find the O data. If you think it's
I
false, go
remember
find the
that.
X data. And I was like, okay. And then I would start running it, and they did not describe, and they said it's in DexNav area 2, and I'd be like, where? Where that is. And so I ran the entire thing. I had to check the entire map because I didn't know where that was. And the data is like looks very similar. Like it's small and like a little spinning thing. What I ended up doing was just finding an O or X first, regardless of whether I was right or wrong, just so that I could turn it in and advance to the next stage if I fail.
Wow,
Um, that is the biggest stumbling block I encountered because the whole time you like run around, you don't know where you're going, trying to find this. You're encountering enemies and getting worn down.
man, I feel like that's definitely a thing in games where like there's so much they have to introduce to you at the beginning, and they're trying to do it in like a friendly way. And if that doesn't hit, it could totally put you off for the rest of the game, even if the rest of
Yeah.
the game is good.
Honestly, it got so much better after I got out of that first shitty area.
Yeah, it's
And
tricky.
like
I
when
mean,
I'm
that's just a tricky part of game development is like introducing you to the world and mechanics in a way that isn't a nuisance.
Yeah, but I feel guilty in the end. I know there's a cool game in here, and
Oh,
I've spent a lot of time kind of picking at this puzzle in my brain of why I couldn't get it going and what makes someone interested in or attracted to a game. Like it's just impossible to put your finger on. Like there's
I mean,
something in your brain that like makes you want to do something, and if someone makes you play a game, like you would think that it'd be like, I'm open-minded, I can do it.
no,
I guess not.
not when you're an adult with limited time.
Exactly.
Y-
And other games to play. My God,
I
what a
know.
terrible feeling of playing other games. Being like, okay, so
I
obviously I have the space to play games right now. It's just
I
there's no
don't
other answer than I don't want to play this
I
one.
don't think it's like hyperbole to say we're living in the golden age of video games, right? There's so much to play, and all of it is
So far,
so far, and all of it is such high quality. Even the like I one of the games I'll talk about later is Control. I just beat Control, and I think if this game came out like 5 years ago, it would have been kind of mind blowing. But because of how high quality games are right now, I was like,
yeah,
yeah, it's fine. Like it does some
yeah.
cool
I
stuff. It has some bad stuff.
I especially get blown away at the quality of games that come out that are amazing and like nobody's ever heard of them. They're like tucked away. Amazing games can just totally fly under the radar, and that's part of why we do this whole thing is to
Yeah,
find these games a little bit.
like
But I
Hellblade.
think of like, and a lot of these games kind of ascend to huge kind of cult classic status. But Hellblade's a great example. I guess Hollow Knight's not a good example anymore because it's
Not
enormous.
anymore.
But once upon a time it was. It didn't have like huge tons of marketing when it came out. I mean, all the games we played are good examples of this, honestly. I would never have played Soma by myself, I don't think,
Yeah,
if not for this. And I'm excited to see what game we get started on this month. Honestly, I've been looking
sure.
forward to doing this so that I can start another game because I'm still locked up
I can't
inside.
believe it's almost March.
Yeah, me either. We're
All
just
right,
gonna not engage with that. We're gonna pretend you didn't say that.
are you ready
And
to present on what you've been
oh,
playing?
am I ready?
Let's do it. I'm
We're
excited. I
gonna
have no idea.
totally
We did totally different things, so I have no idea what's about to happen.
Yeah, we have a totally different. Not only did we make completely different PowerPoints, but we had no criteria for what we were
Yeah, we've
doing.
been playing completely different games.
We were just like, haha, let's make PowerPoints. It'll be funny. Ha ha ha. And then we did, and well, now we have what we have. So let's see what I
Without
got. Are
further
you
ado,
prepared? Are
I'm
you prepared
prepared.
for after this? You're gonna get a snack and a juice box, and then you're gonna go to recess.
I already have a juice box.
Okay, so my the
Uh oh,
topic
it's
of
doing
my
Peter. It's doing
presentation.
the blinking thing.
Oh no, must stop. I forgot to stream the epilepsy warning for anyone. Yeah,
Take two.
I tried
All
to
right.
share the application through Discord, and don't try to do that through PowerPoint because
I like
it'll
that. I
turn
like
on and
those
off
straight off.
automatically.
I like that games is capitalized, but otherwise only some and
Thank
available.
you.
That
Thank
is
you. That really
excellent.
means a lot to me. I like to put my own kind of unique spin on grammar and capitalization.
This
I find it keeps the audience engaged.
this theme is very accessible. It's very
Thank you.
welcoming, and
I sought out the theme that I thought I was most likely to use in fifth grade to get a good grade because the teacher thought I was professional.
I wrote that down. Don't worry.
Thank you. Good. Here are some games that are available at a retailer near you or virtual retailers, including goodoldgames.com.
Are there any real realtors or retailers?
This
Oh,
is not going.
this is so far very fifth grade. Oh,
Uh, uh,
oh, did you use animations?
uh, what
Oh.
is a game?
Oh my god.
This is a T-Rex that I just liked, and I thought I would make an entire
Is this
slide. I
through
can't move.
PowerPoint or Google Slides?
Yeah, it's through PowerPoint. I couldn't believe it. I found this T-Rex when I was trying to introduce. He just roared, and I thought that was funny. I was trying to introduce word art, and I found these like HD animations of like this is all included in Microsoft PowerPoint.
This is high quality stuff. I was
I
not
know.
expecting
Thank you.
this.
I made it myself. It is home cooked. This
Wow.
Tyrannosaurus.
Yeah, you
Uh,
animated that.
yeah, I did.
A
A game can be many things. They, like I said, they are available on many online retailers.
Is this just a PowerPoint about games?
Excuse me, I'm presenting. It can be mental illness. It can be an electronic game that involves interaction with a user interface, or it can be many things. I will be talking about 2 games today.
Click that. Risk of
Risk
Rain.
of Rain 2.
Wow.
I have spent a lot of time playing Risk of Rain 2 this month with my friends and feeling
Not
bad
me,
that I
by the
wasn't
way.
playing Mega Man.
Not me.
Yes.
I am not the friends.
I started playing Risk of Rain 2 with Patrick and our friend John last year, and we got decently far, but then we put it down just because we're busy boys. And I've started playing a lot with. I have some friends online that play it quite a lot, so I joined them, and they know a lot about it. And I found that there was much more than meets the eye with Risk of Rain 2, which I will elucidate in short order.
Elucidate.
In Risk of Rain 2, you choose one of many survivors, such as the one shown here, and you play as long as you can stay alive. It's a roguelike, and there's a timer on the game that makes it harder the longer the timer ticks forward.
It's a 3D
And
roguelike.
it's a 3D roguelike. It's a game that made Risk of Rain 1 is not 3D, it's 2D.
I played the first one though. It was fun.
I have heard it's fun, but we ignore opinions from audience members for our presentations most of the time. So these are some of the survivors you can play. I don't really know what plot of the game there is, but it gets harder as you go on, and you get items, and you use the items to destroy liberal snowflakes as you advance through the levels. These are some recent patch notes from the developer.
Oh wow.
This is literally a patch note. These are more examples of survivors. There is a lot of diversity that you can choose, and they all have different cool skins and abilities you can unlock. There is a samurai, as you can see, and a robot.
I've never seen the character on the right.
I know, because you're bad, so you never unlock these characters. But
Right.
they are very fun to play as, and there are probably like 9. I think they're gonna keep unlocking more. So you kind of run around and you shoot enemies, and it's a very kind of not tense, but you have to watch the clock really quickly. You're supposed to advance to each new level by like 4 minutes or something if you really want to kind of beat the game, or if you want to destroy your characters at the end. And until that time, you kind of have to crank through, find the boss, and kill them. This is a really low-res screenshot.
That makes it better, don't worry.
Makes it better for my presentation purposes.
You're like zoomed in on a 20 pixel picture.
Exactly. So it's been a ton of fun to play. It's really kind of goofy. I don't really like roguelikes most of the time, but I don't know. Maybe I'm changing my opinion on that. Maybe I just like good games now.
Yeah.
I think in particular I played Dead Cells sometime like a year or two ago, and I was like, this game fucking sucks, man. I hate roguelikes.
Hot takes coming in.
I know. That's the most like cursory overview like burn I'm gonna put on a game that is gonna outrage a lot of people.
Yeah.
It just wasn't my thing. But I love Hades. I love this. I love Slay the Spire. Like these are all roguelikes. Maybe I'm just wrong, you know. But I think they're the one of the benefits of roguelikes is that they're sort of low pressure time wise. You said that we don't have a lot of time for some of these games as an adult, and you don't have to worry about remembering where you left off or anything with a roguelike, and you're committed to a firm like half an hour to an hour of gameplay most of the time, which I think is a pretty big selling point for a lot of people. Cool.
Can we look at some of the names in this picture real quick? So
Yes.
at the top right, is that just Haha Maha?
Ha 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 ha. I'm glad you asked that.
Ha
I'm
ha
gonna
ha.
skip ahead a
Ha,
couple
ha,
of
ha,
slides.
ha,
That
ha,
is
ha.
the difficulty level
Oh.
that the game ascends to. They're, easy, medium, hard. Eventually it advances to things like I see you, and eventually just ha 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 is the name of the difficulty
Wow,
level.
that's an hour in. Very impressed.
I know. Risk of Rain is also pretty cool because you can customize like the options. I don't know. You can add modifiers to your run, which I guess is pretty common. Whoa, can you hear me?
Yeah, you lagged a little bit.
Sounds like you can hear me still. You can add modifiers to your run, which allows you to you can choose the items you get instead of them being random, which is a typical Risk of Rain run. And in that way, you can kind of eventually enter God mode if you farm efficiently enough. This isn't a terribly complicated game. It's here are some items, by the way, that you can possibly pick up. This isn't a terribly complicated game, but it's just very appealing, partially because of its unique art style. All of the I don't know. It is 3D, and it made that jump pretty successfully, I think. There's also just a lot of kind of cool, unique, simple but kind of vibrant character design and boss design throughout the game. I almost want a little bestiary of all the creatures and enemies that you might encounter to consider as I go through, but you get none of that information. You're just kind of on this alien world, and you got to go and explore and blow shit up. As you stack up items and get really, really kind of invincible and unkillable, it gets to be quite a lot of fun.
Are these all
Neato.
pictures from your playthroughs?
No, these are pictures. don't copyright strike me, YouTube. I just wrote these off Google. Uh, this is a cool enemy that is you fight near the end of the game.
So
Moving on.
have you beaten the game?
Yeah, you can.
Wow.
It's pretty.
If you
I
say
don't know. Not
easy, I'm gonna hit you.
It's not easy, but it's pretty like not a huge deal to reach the end of the run. If you get towards that 45 to 60 minute run, you can fight the end boss pretty easily and kind of crank through it. And then every time you do that on a different survivor, you unlock new skins and stuff. So that should give you a benchmark for how feasible it is. So why play Risk of Rain 2? Because it's really fun. It's one of those games where it's a good time to play with your friends. If you're looking for something to do when you're locked up inside because you can't go outside because you might get a deadly infection.
Hypothetically.
So yeah, it's low pressure. It's very kind of goofy and clowny. I don't really know how to explain that, but if you're looking for a game where you can accrue a ridiculous amount of abilities and just kind of deal ridiculous damage and blow up everything you see without trying,
Or
and you
use
got
your
yourself there, you earned it.
hook shot to connect to floating enemies and just fly
Lest we
around them.
forget, yes, in one particularly memorable instance, I used the loader to hookshot onto a worm that and these worms fly through the map and all, and if you do that, then you just kind of end up orbiting the entire map, and it's hilarious. That's Risk of Rain 2, but that's
Wow,
old news.
you didn't even talk about the music, which is excellent.
It's excellent. I was gonna, but then I forgot.
It's so
It's excellent.
vibing and just like techno-rific as you're like
Exactly.
mindlessly destroying things. I'll say I've had a blast playing that game with y'all. We've never gotten past that like elemental god level. I don't really know what's going on there, but like there's those giant creatures that are like glowy and you're like on floating rocks in space.
Yes,
Game's
floating rocks
great.
in space.
Would recommend. I haven't played nearly as much as Peter, but it's
I will
definitely
say it helps a lot to have a guide, and know what items are good for which character.
yeah. It's
Which,
you
go
definitely
figure, I
aren't gonna
guess.
be playing not optimally if you don't know what the fuck you're doing, which is me.
Yeah,
But there are
this is
definitely characters for all playstyles, which is good.
yeah. I include this image because I liked how many glasses he was wearing, and it just seems vibes. It sums up the energy of the game.
I
On we
didn't
go.
I didn't know they actually
Next,
displayed items in game.
every time you add a new item, it puts it on your character
I
somewhere.
didn't
So
know
at the
that.
end, you can be hulking around with all these covered under all your items and
That's so
destroying
funny.
enemies. It's pretty ridiculous. Our next game that we're going to talk about today is called Slay the Spire. What are you laughing at?
I
This is the cover art of the game. I don't
yeah.
appreciate your tone. Slay the Spire is a card building game in which you build cards and you use it to ascend a tower. It's not a very
You
handicap
build
accessible
cards.
tower, I think. Yeah, you heard me. You build cards. Every turn you draw a hand of 5 decks and you use those decks to destroy your enemy. Um, there are 4 characters you can play. And you choose. They all have a different playstyle. There's the Ironclad, who uses a sword. There's the Silent, who uses knives and poison. There's the Defect. He uses floating orbs,
So
electricity.
I see you picked me for the defect. And
Oh, that's just the way it looks in game. Actually, these are all screenshots from
oh, okay,
the
okay.
game.
Never mind
I
then.
went through and took this all out. Yeah. This is the Watcher. She is a recently added character. I'm not as good with her yet, but that's okay. So in this game, you start by the directive of a giant whale, and you ascend every new floor. The enemies get harder and harder, and then you fight a boss at the end. You have a relic, which you can see in the top left, and you accrue more as you move through. Oh, geez, my chair almost fucking fell over. You also accrue new cards for your deck, and it grows more and more powerful. It's really fun to kind of customize your deck as you go through. It gives you an option of 3 cards to pick from every time you beat an enemy, and then you add that into your deck, and you keep going. This is what the map looks like generally. So you get choices about where you're going. You can see a legend on the right if you're confused. The little gremlin-looking dudes are monsters. Question marks can be good or bad, random shit that happens to you. There's also merchants that you can buy stuff from. The horned dudes are elites, so they give you a piece of treasure that helps you as well as you go through. So as you play, it draws you a hand of cards, and you can see kind of on the left here, there's energy, and there's an energy cost for each card on the left.
It's called
Um,
mana.
Mene, it's actually called energy. Thanks a lot. So you
Mana.
draw this hand, and you choose how you want to spend the energy for the turn. You can usually play a card that just hits and deals damage to their health, which you see there. Or you can play a card that gives you block, which you see in the shield. Block falls off at the end of every turn, so you're not necessarily going to block all the damage your opponent's dealing into you. Or you can also play cards that like just generally affect the game, like skills that don't deal damage or block, like they might poison your enemy or something. But you have limited resources to do it with. You have 3 energy. And then at the end of the turn, you put your hand all in the discard pile, and you draw a new hand every turn. So it's pretty unpredictable. And then when you go through all your deck, you shuffle it all back in and keep going. Your opponent is going to be doing the same thing to you and hitting you and blocking your attempts, but they can also do the same kind of bad abilities to you, and they can shuffle bad cards into your deck that you draw and take up card slots and get in the way. That is the central thrust of the game. It gets harder and harder as you go through, and the bosses kind of are designed such that they prey upon strategies that you might be developing and be like unmolested. For example, if you use power cards, which give you a passive ability throughout the run, and you start accruing a lot of those, like you might run into a boss on floor 2 or floor 3 that like dings you every time you use a power card, for example.
Have you
Fighting the
beaten?
bosses. Yes, I have. Thank you for asking. I've beaten the game finally. This is a big deal for me. I've beaten the game on all 4 main characters, and I have finally unlocked Ascension, which is kind of like heats in Hades, like you
Huh.
at growing difficulty. I don't really know what it is about this game because the art sucks ass.
I was about to
But
say that's what keeps me away from this game. Is like every time I've watched someone play it, it looks like a flash game from like addictinggames.com, and I'm like, I am not buying this game.
it looks like a mobile ad game or something that you would see on YouTube where you're trying to like annoyingly scoot past it. You know? The art is terrible, but the game is just amazing. I don't know. It's incredibly kind of complex and deep, and there are so many kind of possibilities, and you throw them all out every time you start over.
That is the beauty of
So
roguelikes.
I know. I don't think I have too much more to say about it on it right now. Gosh, I wish we had played this together. I'm finding that it's like a lot less interesting to talk about these games myself than
Oh,
I
that's
have played
okay.
and tell you how great they are. You'll see what I'm talking about in mere seconds. But that is generally how Slay the Spire goes. This is another screenshot that I guess
Zerp.
I wanted to include. This showcases a different playstyle. You can see the defect here. This is what he actually looks like. Channeling 1 lightning adds it to the slots that you see there, and every turn that passes, it triggers however many orbs he has, which deals like increasingly more damage. So you can like add more orb slots and add more orbs to go into those. And
Zap plus.
Zap Plus, yeah, that's what they call me. This is we're at the point where I don't remember what I put in these PowerPoints anymore, so I'll like go and it'll go to like I'm like, what did I put on this slide? Let's find out. Oh yeah, this. um, this encapsulates my emotions every time I go through the game because you can get clowned on really fast after you think you're on top of shit. Once again, I don't remember what I put here.
I'm excited.
This has basically just become a meme collection of things that I thought were funny when I was putting this PowerPoint together. Past me is like, this will be great. Business, a man giving a presentation.
Nice.
This is just thrown in the end here to kind of leave man giving presentation professionally in the viewers' minds. This is the
Yes.
thing that they will take away.
Wow. Preguntas?
Preguntas, do you have questions
I don't,
about
but I do think it's
my
funny
game?
that both your games are roguelikes.
I do too. I don't know what's happened to me. I shit talk
I
roguelikes
don't
for
know.
like a year before this, and now
Also, games that just like go
finally.
on forever. Do you not
Yeah, I
miss
know.
having more like
I feel kind of locked up in single player games because you and I do these together. I
we
definitely do
haven't
not
played a
feel.
game together in like when
I
did
know.
we I don't even remember when we
Hellblade.
recorded our last pod. It was a month ago.
You finished Hellblade really fast, and I kind of slow bladed it a little bit more.
That's true.
But I definitely felt guilty. It's been a month of guilt, people. I felt so. I did not feel like I could start a new single player game while I was still working
I
on
did
building
not
one.
feel that. I was gleefully playing other games instead of Golden Sun. Whoops. All right, are you ready for my presentation?
I'm ready.
Stop
Yes, that's the end of
presenting.
mine.
I would
I
like to.
can't remember if I had any more.
All
All
right,
right,
here we
I've
go.
concluded
So
mine. I'm ready.
instead of just talking about Mega Man, we'll do my presentation, and this is
We're gonna play Mega Man.
no, this is a recap of Golden Sun based on what I know, along with some stuff,
Do you want to show your PowerPoint, or are you
some
just gonna
general
talk? Okay.
vibes. I'm working on it.
Golden Sun, golden fun? Question mark. I'm just like nothing.
IDK maybe.
Tell
What
you,
did
I was playing this game, and
what
I just parted with it. I'm I'm just dealing with that trauma later. I'm internalizing it,
for
and
Mega Man?
no, for you not being able to play my favorite game of all time. But
Oh, you're just internalizing it. I get it.
that's the way the cookie crumbles, you know? We don't.
It is. Unfortunately, our videos will be gone for my presentation because I am full screening it. So,
That's
sorry,
okay.
sorry,
You
viewers. You'll
can
just have
listen
to
to the
listen to our
dulcet
voice. All
tones.
right, Golden Sun, Golden Fun. I don't
Question
know.
mark.
Maybe
IDK.
IDK maybe. All right, let's do a little recap of all my favorite characters. So this is not what they look like in the game, obviously, because it's a JRPG from the '90s? Question mark. But
2000.
over here we've got our best friend.
All right. What is his name,
I only
Patrick?
know that
What's
his
his
name is
name, Patrick
Isaac. I
Chet?
only know that his name is Isaac because I also had to Google a photo of combat later and his name was there. I was gonna guess Isaac as well. I knew it wasn't like who are other Golden Sun characters? I don't
Armando.
Armando. I don't.
No, I was just throwing out it.
I also know that
Guillermo.
our best friend Jeff is named Garrett because of that same photo. I don't
Why
know
did you
who
call
any
him
of these
Jeff?
other people are. Who is Magic Staff Man?
I thought you unlocked him. You said you got to the part
Is
where
this the
because this
mind
game to
reader?
me,
Is this the
yeah,
mind reader guy? I
yeah, it
don't.
is. It's Ivan.
Ivan. I don't know any of these
This
people.
game left so little an impression on you. How? Okay, here's a question. How many hours did you manage to sink into Golden Sun in
I
that?
bet it was like 2 to 3.
Okay, not so
I
bad.
don't. Is this a good person? Because there were totally
Yeah, that's
4 bad
she actually
people.
she actually was in the game. Both these characters were in the game, but you may not have been able to
Is this
perceive
the
them.
sister
That's right.
of the guy that died or of Garrett?
It is Jenna. You're right. And the guy that died is actually in the top right.
So okay, so he's the one who's with the evil people.
That's
The
right.
evil people are very identifiable in the game because they're
You
very colorful.
you don't know any of these people's names, and I think 7 out of 9 or so of these characters were in the 2 hours that you played, and their names were explicitly called out many times.
Yeah, I don't have any excuses for this. These guys are named like Feliciano or some shit. Like they have crazy names. I don't
They do
remember.
have crazy names. That's how you know they're evil. And everyone else has like
Yeah, I will.
it's Joe, Steve, and Arnold versus Excellencio the Bright.
Yeah. I will say that the villains seemed very charismatic and interesting, and I was interested in them. And
That's
that's all I
good.
have to say. That's all I
That's
have
what
to
we
say.
like out of our
All right,
games.
moving on from my best friends. So plot recap. Uh, the game begins. There's a storm happening, and a boulder that looks like mediumly big is rolling down a mountain. But apparently, it's like a very
The
big issue.
meatball.
Yeah, it's like gonna destroy their whole town, even though it's like the size of 4 of them across or something. So we're talking like a 6 to 8 foot wide boulder that they're very worried about. But
Felt like a bigger deal to me when I was a
it
kid,
did.
but I
And so
guess that's
we fail to stop the boulder, and we think a brother of a friend dies from boulder. Or as we just learned, brother of girl whose name I have already
friend?
forgotten.
Question mark? Girlfriend?
So
Mm-hmm.
that happens, and then we flash forward some number of years that I don't remember, and we're just like doing village guy stuff, and we're gonna go see an old guy who taught us how to use magic. Magic. What is the magic called?
Synergy.
Psi energy. And while we're going to visit our Psi Energy
Return.
sensei, we bump into the bad people, and they're like, yeah, scheming, and we don't know what they're scheming about.
And you get dumpstered by them. Don't forget.
Well, we get dumpstered by them twice. They like knock us out in the flashback too.
Yes.
Anyways, we get to the old guy, and he's like, something is afoot. We should go to the Sun Temple.
That
And
basically was what it was like. Actually, you're not even embellishing.
and on our way to the Sun Temple, there's a really tricky stealth bit where you have to sneak past a guard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then you get into the Sun Temple and you do some puzzles and you start fighting endless mobs of worms and bats. And eventually you get into this like trippy other universe realm, and there's a bunch of elemental stones that I am forgetting the name of.
Infinity Stones.
Infinity Stones, of course, yeah. And we're like hopping around on these stone pillars to get to them. And then the bad guys show up, and we learn that our friend did not die via Boulder. He is there, and he is with the evil people now, and he's
My friend.
basically the
Really,
Winter Soldier at this point.
He does look kind of like the Winter Soldier.
And they take all of the stones, threatening to kill my friends unless I let them take them, except for one, I think. Maybe the Fire Stone? I don't remember.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So we get one, and then a giant floating eyeball is like, it's your destiny to go fix this. And so,
When
you
the
know,
giant eyeball is addressing you and telling you it's your destiny, it gives you like a prompt. It's like, hey, okay, the world is in your hands. Are you prepared to go to the elemental lighthouses and save the world? And it gives you like a yes no. And if you choose no, you like walk out the back, and it's like, and so the world drifted on. It was destroyed eventually. It's like, damn.
yeah,
Okay,
I was
game over.
there's a lot of times in this game where it like gives you dialogue options, and you're like, it seems like there's a really clear wrong answer here. Like, what happens if I do this? And I was never brave enough to do it. So Giant Eyeball sends us on our journey, and I did like one quest after that where I met this mind reader guy and helped him hunt down these lady robbers in a village. And then I assume the game ends eventually.
That quest actually is kind of lame. I'm not the biggest fan of picking up
So,
Ivan. Oh, look.
combat.
Wow.
It's Garrett
Screenshot.
and Isaac and worms that
Look,
are
you do know. Oh, you only know those names because they're at the top.
exactly.
I was so impressed. I was like, you do know his name. It's not Jeff.
So the combat is kind of, it's JRPG combat, turn-based combat. You can attack with your sword. You can do an element attack. You can guard if that were ever your prerogative, but I doubt it will ever be your prerogative like in Pokemon. But these creatures are everywhere. Like, they're in the overworld, they're in buildings, they're just like, you cannot escape them. You're like, should I run? I'm not sure. Like, should I be grinding levels? I level up randomly and get like, I'm like Squire Plus now, and I'm like, I guess that's
Squire
cool.
Platinum.
Yeah, I don't.
Squire Premium membership.
Yeah, unclear what the point is, but I'm doing it. I think I ran like twice, and it takes like almost as long to run as it does to just kill them.
That doesn't go away.
I
I have nothing to say about that.
man, it
The enemies are not always Chia Pets. That's what I'll say. They're cool
no, the
a
Chia
lot.
Pets
Like,
are not the enemy. The Chia Pet is this guy down here. You
I thought you meant the slimes.
no, you eventually, when you like finish the Sun Temple and you've killed a million enemies, it finally like sends you to the overworld, which I'll get to later. But you run into this chibi guy. I don't even know what are they called again?
They're called Jin. They're genie. You
Ginny.
jerk.
They're Ginnies, and they teach you this like extraordinarily complicated thing that basically comes down to you like do a
The set and standby thing.
yeah, you basically do like a preparation attack, which is like a fairly normalish attack, but that allows you to then next turn cycle do like a major attack.
Yes. I will explain.
Elaborate.
For the professor will tell all. The Jin system is why Golden Sun is cool. You get more and more Jin as you go through, and they're all the four elements. They're like air, water, fire, and earth. The way it goes is you can have a Jin set to a character, and the more that you have set to them, they give your character more powers, and they actually change your class pretty quickly. Like if you have one Earth Djinn, you're a squire. Then if you have two, you like level up to a knight from having it set that way, and so on. And you can mix and match the elements too, so you get all kinds of weird, like crazy classes, like
Man,
wind shaman and samurai, and like all this cool
I
shit.
think I'm just like
Um,
too smooth brain or too smooth brain for this.
It takes a little getting used to. Like I
It was a
remember, I
lot
remember
at the
feeling the
beginning.
exact same thing, like with the Jin. And I played the Lost Stage first, so I never got the Jin tutorial. I was just in there like, what the fuck is standby? So you have them set to you. If you choose, you can activate the Jin and use its like one-time ability, and then it goes on standby. If it's on standby, you can use it to summon a god, and then it like respawns back to being set on you. So
Right.
it's a cycle. It's like the water cycle. And the more you have on standby, the cooler the god you summon is, and they can
Interesting.
kind of
I will
change.
say
So
the
that's the
I
gym.
will say the animations, the 2D, the 2.5D element of combat in
Yeah,
general was
two and a half
cool,
D.
albeit way too frequent, and they don't show you how much health the enemies have. So you're just kind of
Yes,
swinging blind, and they like
that
they heal constantly. Like when I was
that's
fighting the robber ladies, like I
yeah,
was just
they're
like
hard.
I was trying. I mean, I didn't die, but like I was trying to take them out one at a time, and she's just like heal for 700, and I'm just like, is that a lot?
There
Did I do as
there are
much?
some bosses that are so fucking hard, and they have no health bar, and you just have done like 3,000 damage to them, and you're like still staring at your screen like, why is this guy still alive?
Why am I
This is
here?
insane. Uh,
Yeah. So that's my take on
I googled
combat.
their HP totals.
That's my take on combat. Music. It was really good. That was really good.
Yes,
I
that's all we
didn't
care about.
I didn't hear a ton, but the music in the like elemental realm
Oh
was
yes.
like so good that I still think about it. The end.
I'll finally send you the supercut of all the
So
music I
now
made.
here's some thoughts on why I didn't finish. I don't know. Game seems good and cool. Real point, I didn't love the overworld, and it made me lose motivation. Like
Interesting.
I, it was like kind of off-putting compared to your typical RPG Game Boy games like
Yes,
Pokemon or
it's no
whatnot.
Breath of the Wild for sure.
Well, it's that's not even the problem. It just like it vaguely told you where to go, and then I ended up stumbling into that Ivan quest, and I was like, was this what I was supposed to do, or did I just happen to do this? And because there were
I
several
think
places I could go to, and you
I
would
think you
like,
are actually forced to go where you need to eventually. Like you
yeah,
all the like seeming options are like not actually like you can't
I
progress
believe
unless
it,
you
but because when you're in the overworld, you're constantly running into enemies. It was,
same kind of problem as me, I guess.
yeah, apparently we just hated world design from Game Boy games.
I'm gonna say maybe we just hate random encounters that get spammed, which was a really popular thing after Pokemon. I think Pokemon really popularized this fucking cute creatures jump you every two
At
feet
least
and you
in
fight
Pokemon,
them.
outside of caves, you can like kind of avoid it. Man, I want to play Pokemon.
But
Okay,
it's died down though. Like that was
yeah.
15 years ago, and now I think game developers try to stay away from that shit, or at least give you
Overall,
the option.
I would say that I don't have a good reason for not finishing it because I enjoyed what I played. Will I ever finish? I hope so. I have
Maybe
both
try
the main game
maybe
and
try
the
the Lost
sequel.
Age. Maybe
It
try to
cost me
recreate my
$60 to buy these games, so I hope I
kind of
finish them.
expensive. Yeah,
Kind
that's
of.
the
Best
price of a full
part,
AAA game.
when all of characters zoop into main guy's body, it is funny. It is. It isn't. So you're like constantly traveling with at least 2 to 5 people, and they all, when you're ready to begin moving again, they like coalesce into your main character's body, and you become one gelatinous mass of person, and it's funny.
Very collapsible. It's the really humans of the future. We all just
Yeah,
enter
it's
each
very.
other and travel around.
It raises some questions.
A bus driver will be a literal person in the future that everyone just walks into. 20 people in the sky, and he walks everyone to work on their commute.
Kind of, especially when it was like me, Garrett, the girl,
Yeah, like
and the
8
old
people or
guy.
whatever. It's
Yeah, we're
like
just like
at the most it's like 12 people I think all walking into one person. It's crazy.
Jesus. Music in place with element stones. The bad guys were charismatic. I stand by that. They were fun every time I saw them. They reminded me of anime villains, which is
They're
not
the shit.
surprising, I guess.
It's a
Uh,
very anime game.
nice variety of attacking options. I will say, like the sword and weapon attacks versus the element attacks, and then the Jin attacks, all cool. I
Oh
enjoyed
boy.
the flow of combat was cool. Worst parts, didn't love the overworld. There are so many mobs, and I don't know if I should run or fight them to gain levels or what. No info about enemies available.
This is all very good, Mr. Wren. Good job on your presentation so
Thank
far.
you. That is my presentation on
Oh, that was
Golden
the whole
Sun.
thing. Great job.
Thank you.
Good work.
I give myself a high five.
Or no, the name of that song, Supplemental Stars, will be in the YouTube description. So,
Oh, I'll have to go look that up. So,
so
my evaluation is I have no good reason to not have played it other than just like there was better things to be playing.
they
And
were cursed.
that is not Golden Sun's fault. It seems cool. I liked it. There was a
Yeah, I don't
lot
know what it
to
was.
figure out at the beginning, which was like maybe because it's so different than the formula of games right now that it like required more mental energy to dive into the beginning. You know, like right now,
Yeah,
most of the like God of War, Control, Ghost of Tsushima, they're all like these third person action games that have vague things in common that is kind of the formula right now and it's more comfortable. I
yeah,
don't
they
know.
really drag you into. I I will say that I have the I don't know. I'm just so confused this month about this. This is such a strange phenomenon to me that we were so unable to complete these games. I guess we can probably chalk it up to just us having lives and other things going on, but
I think it's because we didn't
very
pick the
strange.
games as things we were excited about, and I think that's a lot of why. Like when you're perusing the Patient Gamers subreddit, which I know we both do, when I read posts about people who failed to beat games, it's usually because people are like, I was playing this game because it's supposed to be good, or I played this game because I bought it on sale and it's been wasting away in my library. It's like that's not why you should be playing a game. And
But
like,
we elect these games by lottery, you know? Like
no, this
every
was you picked these games. This was like we didn't do our
No,
normal,
I mean before this. Like the games that we've enjoyed, we elect by lottery. Like
but we picked them
you
and put them there for a reason, right?
Yeah, like I picked Soma and Final Fantasy VII, and you played those games and liked them. You know what I mean?
Mm,
It's the same. It's you didn't choose those games and you still got through them. So what is it? It's
yeah,
so weird.
guess I'm just too old for old games now.
I don't know. Honestly, it's made me think a little bit about like what is it that makes you like a game? What is it that makes you interested? And I thought I would have a better answer than this. But with the amount that we talk about games and think about them, like I
Yeah.
thought that I would be able to give that something, but I'm just coming up empty. Um, Maybe
It's
our dear
peculiar.
viewers
I mean,
have
it
thoughts
seems
about
like
it.
games we would enjoy, you know?
Yeah, I think so too.
Anyways,
Anyway, what have you been playing?
well, I gave a quick rundown of it. Let me go check my actual factual. Well, I can leave this full screen. I have my list of games completed so far since February. And I can see what the answer is.
We can elect a new game, which I'm excited
So
about.
it looks like as of February, the games I finished God of War, which I had been putting off since
I can't believe you didn't finish that. Like you
2018. Well, I was
you had like
like,
2 hours left in it or whatever, and I was like,
yeah,
gaming is so
I was
great.
so into it when it came out and was like blown away. And I have this weird like before I kind of re-kickstarted my love of games and like really focused on completing games, I would play a ton and then be like, I'm beating this game too fast. I need to slow down and then just never beat it. Like that was a really common experience for me in high school and college. And it's like the dumbest thing ever.
Sounds like you need to ignore that impulse
Oh, I
and
have
beating this game
successfully.
too
I've been
fast.
beating so many games. So
It's true.
that game is obviously excellent. I think my only critique of it is the RPG systems that are added on with like the gear and stats are dumb. And I had no interest in like comparing gear kits to
Yeah.
see what minor improvements it gave me and like putting in charms to give the same slight upgrades. I guess they also gave different moves, but then I would like watch someone playing the game and like the move combinations that they were using were like complex and incredible, and I was just like, what if you just dodge and spam light attack? Like that was my whole
Have I
playthrough.
got a proposal for you?
Yeah, yeah. So I think
I also get overwhelmed with like crafting, socketing options and shit where you have to like, I don't know,
It was
compare and
I
contrast
liked that
abstract
stuff in
feeling.
some games, like in Cyberpunk and Fallout. Maybe because those are more dedicated RPGs where you know what you're getting into. I don't mind like respecking every time I pick up new loot. I think it's and I was listening to a podcast today where they talked about the loot in God of War and how they wanted less of it and them to be like more impactful. And I agree with that. I think when gear gives you something like really unique and like a new move or uh
Yeah,
something
memorable,
like yeah, memorable shit.
significant.
Like I don't remember anything from God of War except you could like
I
wear
remember the
his
axe and the blades, and
yeah,
that's it. Like
yeah, and
all
like
that, all everything else, I don't remember.
and all of the outfits looked
Atreus's
cool.
bow, I guess.
I don't know. I used it. I upgraded the shit out of his bow. He was stun master. The
I
game's
mostly
great. The
remember the
story
I
is
remember the
awesome.
moves. Like I remember the moves that you do in God of War a lot and thinking that was cool. And I
They
remember
are
the combo
cool.
moves with Atreus. Like those stand out to me more.
Yeah, I underutilized those, but I think that's partially because you like learn more about using them early in game. So if you come back, you kind of forget it, and you're just like spam
Yeah.
light attack dodge. Like you just get good at parrying and shit like that, which is what I did.
Uh, some people do.
Game's
Some
great,
people just
story's great,
take
game's
a lot of hits to
beautiful.
the face.
The sequel's supposed to come out this year. I doubt it happens, but you know, man can dream. After
Yeah.
that, I played
I mean,
through and complained a lot about Control, which was a PS Plus game this past month. And Control is the weirdest game I've played in a long
you did
time.
complain a lot about Control, and then every time I was like, "It sounds like you should stop playing that game, bro." And you were like, "No, I love it."
It's the
What?
weirdest. I have that was the most conflicting experience I've had in a game in a long time. It's
Sounds like a good experience then.
I think so. I think the story is kind of dumb and especially like the ending and I think some of the performances are really cringy and overdone, particularly from the
Uh-huh.
main character and her brother. Spoiler alert, her brother is in the game. She's like the game starts and she's like looking for her brother and she finds him.
Oh yeah, that like
But
barely exists.
but
I was too scared.
yeah, that was in my like written review is that the game cannot make up its mind as to whether it wants to be like a horror game at all. Like I was playing through a level and it's like like the game is kind of spooky, but I like call an elevator and you call elevators like dozens of times in this game and one
Yeah.
time in the entire game a monster is inside the elevator and is like and like comes out and tries to get you and you're like you kill it and then it's over and you're like why was this monster in this elevator one single time in this whole game?
Okay. We had different experiences on this game because and I'm like embarrassed about this because I think you're right. And I think this game is not that scary, but I just couldn't do it. I don't know what it was. Like it's not that
Soma
scary,
is
but I was too
so
scared.
much scarier
I
than
was
this
too
game.
scared. It's this specific kind of like eerie atmosphere where there's not
It's
actually
cool.
that much jumping out at you, but it's just this kind of like stuff that feels like it's pressing right up against you.
It
And that
reminds
kind of
me
atmosphere in games, I can't handle it. I don't
it
know
reminds me
why.
of the
Like,
flood levels in Halo.
yeah, and that I could not
Scary but not
stand those
horror.
games. Like I could
So
not. I had to like hype myself up and sprint through the flood levels in
the
original
difference
Halo.
is you're like a god in both of those games. And in this one in particular, so I spec like entirely into my force throw ability. So I'm just like chucking items at the floating things from like a million miles away and had no
Uh-huh.
issues with ever like there's like one creature that's invisible
I
that was a little
think I
spooky.
died a pretty decent amount in Control
I
too.
didn't die
Like,
too much. Occasionally
this
I'd
is
like
like a black mark in my gaming history that way.
well, it's a weird game and the setting is really cool. The music and ambiance and sound effects are cool.
Did you
The
like the setting? Did you like the kind of office building
yes.
taken over? Did you like the,
Yes.
and did you read the notes? There are a billion trillion
No.
notes. I read
No.
a lot of them, and I actually kind
I
of
heard
liked
they're
it.
cool, but I'm not that guy. I want my exposition spatted at me by side characters. But it's a cool game. It's like I said, if it came out like 5 or 6 years ago, I think I would hold it in much higher regard than I do because it does really cool stuff. The gameplay is pretty tight and feels good. The setting is super interesting. The graphics are really good, even though the character models all look weird as shit. The story doesn't quite land, but like I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima right now, and the story is not like the strong point of that game, so it's not like a huge downer. I'll talk about that game in a bit because I have nothing but good things to say about it. But I'm happy I played the game. It was kind of a slog to beat it, but there were enough like good moments to keep me going. I think if it was like missing one or two good beats, I probably would have given up.
If I remember,
Also,
it
it was
occupies a
free.
weird. That's nice. It occupies a weird space because it kind of bears a lot on the back of its like mystique and like it's mystery and what's gonna happen. And if the plot doesn't turn out that great, like it sounds like you're
Yeah,
sort of
it
saying, then you feel
didn't.
kind of ripped off, don't you?
Yeah, it has like Horizon Zero Dawn has that same kind of like what's going on in this world? What is like what explains all of this interesting stuff that's happening? But I felt like the payoff in Horizon was really good.
Much more satisfying,
Like
yeah.
felt really awesome. Like that's one of my favorite explanations for an apocalyptic world of all time.
Yeah.
Controls was just like weird and
Play Alan Wake.
no, I haven't.
Apparently, Control. It's like by the same guy that did Alan Wake, and apparently the plot is like tied into Alan Wake somehow at the by the end of the
I
game.
no, I
Like
didn't
Alan,
ask
like
for that.
I know, nobody fucking did. Like that is a criticism I've heard about Control. It's like,
I think
okay,
my
I
least
didn't play
favorite part
Alan
is the
Wake, so
brother and the main character. They're just
I
so
didn't even make it.
awful.
I made it like
The
5
you don't
through.
meet the brother until like the last fourth of the game, and he's
I think I
super
made it one
cringy.
fourth through this game
And
probably.
I have read that also like the side missions are where a lot of the cooler boss encounters happen, but I did not
Some of the
engage.
bosses, like there's a boss that's like floating upside down, or there's a moment at the beginning where you walk out the door and it's like red floodlights come on and there are people hanging or whatever.
That's
I'm
like
like,
the whole game, dude.
I just can't handle it. I see them hanging there, they
There's
drop down.
some
I'm like, no, don't come for me.
they're just like guys with guns. You get over
I
it.
know, and then when I fight them, they're like easy. But I was like,
There's way
just
scarier shit in that game.
sure.
Anyways, I think I recommend that. Like, it's worth playing because it's really unique. There's nothing quite like it, and I think that's probably why it gets a lot of the praise it gets. But it's like it's not a polished experience, is what I'll say.
Well,
On,
I'll make sure to never finish it.
on to Ghost of Tsushima, which is just bliss. I've already played like 20 hours of that game in like a week and a half.
I'm gonna turn my video off and go make another snack here.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say too much about it. People know how good this game is. The internet rallied behind it to make it beat Last of Us Part 2 in Game of the Year, which they failed at. It's giving
Pretty.
me Breath of the Wild vibes as far as the world goes. Like every area, like there are so many intentionally designed, self-contained locations within the map that are like these beautiful monuments and these interconnected floral areas, which reminds me of Breath of the Wild. Because like Breath of the Wild is you're kind of aimlessly exploring and you come across these places that were so intentionally put in the spot they are, and Ghost feels the exact same way as that, and it's so cool. And
Yeah.
I call this game the floral simulator because there's so many leaf petals
Flowers.
everywhere, and I
Yeah.
love it so much. It's
I
the
really
particle
liked
simulation
zooming
game.
around. I really like zooming around on my horse and like passing
Oh my
through the different like
god.
biomes as they were
It's
changing,
so
like
cool, and the
seasons.
weather is beautiful, and the combat feels so crunchy and good.
Crunchy,
Oh my god, crunchy.
like
Yeah.
granola.
I already feel like an unbeatable god in it. I know you had some troubles with it, but once you get parrying down and
I
upgrade
never felt unbeatable.
some of the
I felt sucky. I felt bad at the combat.
well, maybe I'll stream it for you sometime. The game is awesome. I'm still in the first section of the island. The game is really long. There's like 24 areas to liberate in the first section, 17 in the second, and 15 in the third, which is a lot of
A
bases.
lot of content.
I've done like 16 in the first area because I enjoy it. You definitely don't have to do that much, but I'm trying to like 100% the content because it's just so fun to like do the things
Yeah.
and follow foxes to beautiful shrines or ascend these awesome mountains, and everything looks so good.
It
Plus,
reminds me of Horizon Zero Dawn, kind of.
yeah,
Not like there are
they
differences,
have the
but
same like beautiful world thing going on. I do wish there was a little more enemy variety, but it's kind of like
yeah,
Horizon excels at that because of the themes and setting. Like you
its
can,
setting predisposes it to that, right?
yeah,
But if
you
you're in
can build as many
feudal
different
Japan,
creatures as you want, but there are only so many types of Mongols.
don't you like hallucinate demons every so often with still with dudes with swords, but they're demon looking?
I just did a mythic quest with where I retrieved a bow that was like cursed by a demon, and you have like a duel with a guy who looks kind of demony,
Yeah.
but it
Um,
was like a normal sword fight, and he stands no chance.
to me, Ghosts of Tsushima seems like a sterling example of like this past era of video
Yeah,
games, like
it
the past
is
5 years that got really popular.
it's like the open world game. Like it has taken notes from every open world game from like the PS4, Xbox One generation. I think a lot of people consider like the open world generation with all of the
Yeah.
Assassin's Creeds and Far Cries and Horizon Zero Dawn and Ghost of Tsushima, and Metal Gear Solid 5 was made open world, and Red Dead 2, and just like pretty much every game like even God of War was basically open world with hubs.
Yeah.
And
I
Ghost
think
of Tsushima kind of took all of that and cut out some of the filler, and but it still has like some of the tropes, but they're
yeah.
all beautiful and enjoyable in my opinion. There might be a little too many of them, but
To me, it feels very like a really nice capstone on that era that you were just discussing, and it makes me really curious about what's going to come next. You know, we think of games like this as like, wow, this is such a cool, amazing thing. I can't believe this didn't exist before now. It makes me wonder, like, what are we going to think? I can't believe this didn't exist before now in 5 years or 10 years.
yeah, I'll be curious to see what Horizon Forbidden West is like. I wonder if they'll try to take notes from Breath of the Wild as far as traversal goes, because I think that was the two biggest complaints of that game were some of the stiff acting and side quests not mattering or not being impactful, and then
Hmm.
because it came out within like 2 weeks of Breath of the Wild, people shit on the traversal a lot,
Yeah,
and
I like
traversal in Ghost is pretty good. Like I have been able to go anywhere that I look, and that is kind of the whole Breath of the Wild thing, right? And
I
you don't.
like open world games, but I'm not like voracious for them anymore. Like Skyrim was like 9 years ago, you know.
Is that all? Is it not
Yeah,
like two?
it was like 2012,
Mm.
2011, right?
Yeah, it was college.
Um,
It was sophomore year of college, so that's
but we've
exactly
we've been
right.
in this zone for a long time, and I like all of these games that we've discussed about. I at least like them a little bit. If not, I'm crazy about them. Like I think I was really into Horizon and Breath of the Wild, and it can happen. But I'm really interested in what's next for games. I don't know. I guess I think of
I
things
hope
like
it.
VR
I
as
hope
like a
it's not
real.
just bigger worlds because
That's not what's next. You know, that's the same as now.
I
But
know, but it's kind of the. I agree with you. I'm curious to see what's next. I'm a bit open worlded out as much as I'm enjoying Ghost as kind of like a
yeah.
capstone of it. I liked how Last of Us Part 2 was in that it had some like open areas, but it was linear between areas.
It felt a lot more story focused. Like it was really, I don't know, it didn't depart too much from its story in favor of its open world and environments, which I felt God of War I did not like about God. Like it was really trying to be an open world game, and it's not. Like
I agree
it's
with
like
that. I
2D1.
didn't really explore, like, I didn't feel the incentive to explore in God of War as much as I do in something like
Yeah,
Ghosts. And
me
I
neither.
kind of mainlined the story in that one. And every time that I did explore in God of War, I ended up finding something that just like whooped my ass. And I was like, all right, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah,
I'd rather just like enjoy this story. Whereas with Ghosts, the exploration is kind of the game. And
I
that's interesting.
I so thinking about like what might be next. I wonder about VR sometimes. Like we've heard it talked about as the future of video games. It's not right now. Like it's not accessible enough for people to do it. But like
I don't
I
buy
don't
it.
know.
I see it in a similar vein as 3D movies. Like it cuts off too many people, right? Like
Yeah.
financially now, but even when it's accessible, like someone like me, it makes me violently ill. And
Oh, really?
yeah, and 3D movies
Yeah.
don't even do that. But like I never bought into the 3D movie hype. They died. I think VR is always going to be kind of like a niche collector, like high end uh bougie experience, and I know they're trying to make it more mainstream. Like I could also see it going sort of like mobile gamey with something like Beat Saber. I don't know if you know what Beat Saber is. It's like a
Sure.
rhythm game
I've
where
heard
you're
it.
like pew, 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 pew.
That's
And
great. Um,
like that sort of experience rather than something like Half-Life Alex, which I know people loved. But
you're right. Like it is bougie and it's not accessible and it doesn't work right now, straight up. And I it's a shame because I would like to see VR come into the mainstream and become and reach its full potential. but there are so many barriers in the way right now that are hampered by, I don't know, money and resources and people's interest. And it's a shame because I don't know, unless things improve, I think you're right. But I think it could happen. I think there's a future in which, I don't know, someone who's really visionary and who really has a lot of kind of technical and business acumen can like bring everything together and think of a way that VR games could be brought to people. Like something with people's phones, I don't know, tremendous processing power that everyone has access to. I have no fucking idea how you would make VR
I
games
don't
out
know.
of
I'll be curious.
phones, but
Like, I'm
it's just a shame because it's different. It's so different, and it's a step forward, and
yeah,
it could be awesome.
like
But
the
yeah,
Wii.
yeah. I mean, like the Wii, like we laugh at it now, but the Wii kicked off it did kick off a whole new world of video games.
It did. I'll be
And so
curious.
did and so did the Switch too. Like the Switch has kind of changed the game a lot in in some respects, not necessarily in terms of
It
the
still
game.
feels like there's a divide between
Like,
like the mobile gaming and PlayStation and Xbox going all in on stronger processing and bigger,
yeah,
stronger hardware. So I don't think we're
that's
that
where the
close
money
to.
is.
I
You know,
mean, it
that's where their existing audience is,
it is
and
here in China. It's all mobile games, but hopefully that is
yeah,
not the future.
we have
They're
a
trying.
lottery to complete here, don't we?
We do. So that's what we've been playing. That's our failure. We stink, but we're gonna succeed in March because we're
We
not.
stink.
We can't fail forever. So
Try me, bitch.
so we're gonna do our normal process. We're just gonna pick 3 games.
Oh boy.
Maybe my game will get picked. I don't know. We'll each pick a
Patrick has
game
lost.
from each other's list, and
Patrick has lost every single roulette that we played.
I
I
have.
think
So
he's lost
I guess let me
four
go pull
times.
up our
We rigged the roulette in December such
Patrick.
that Patrick would win with Firewatch.
Yeah, right.
I've got
Patrick,
it open.
Peter. Well, you want to just stream?
Sure. Yeah, I would love that. Oh my gosh.
I guess we got to give some grades here. All right.
Oh yeah, we have to grade all our games.
Everywhere games. Mega Man Battle
I don't think we can.
Network
Let's grade.
3 Golden Sun. Final grades. Peter, what are you giving Mega Man Battle Network 3?
Uh, I'm gonna give it
Oh,
not a
oh,
smiley face,
not
not a frowny
complete?
face.
Incomplete, you say? Okay, you get an incomplete. Patrick,
I was gonna give it a sticker.
I'm also giving you a incomplete / failure. Deservedly so. All right, Peter, what are your 3 games
Great
for
job.
March? March
Oh, boy.
games.
Done this before now.
Peter.
Okay, one is Rayman. One is Rayman Legends.
Rayman Legends. People like that game. I've never played a Rayman game.
I'm gonna put Crosscode in.
Crosscode. Can you beat Crosscode? If you can't beat Crosscode, I'm taking it off. Is it
What do you mean?
like? Does it have an end?
Oh, I think so. I don't know.
I know, John. It doesn't matter. You can put it on your list because I'm probably not gonna pick it.
John, come here. And let's say 13 Sentinels.
Wait, I'm putting 13 Sentinels on mine. You can't steal
Okay,
that.
then I'll do Sakuna.
Sakuna. Wait, I thought you were gonna put like Remnant. What is Sakuna? Oh, that was the farm. Game.
Farmville.
Farmville. I don't think so. All right. Patrick's doing 13 Sentinels. Aegis Rim. Aegis Rim.
Sentinels.
Sentinels. Patrick's doing Star Wars. Jedi Fallen Order. And Little Nightmares 2.
What is Little Nightmares 2?
I talked to you a little bit about this. It just came out. It's an indie game. The first one came out like a long time ago, and it's this like 3D platformer. I guess it might technically be 2D, but it's like 3D assets. And it's in this like super creepy world where humans are these like you're like a tiny creature, maybe even a tiny human, but the like enemies you're avoiding are these giant lumbering titans of like horrifying humans. The faces you're making. Oh no. Yeah.
I'm Googling. I just don't know
Okay, so
what
you're like a little
about.
box man, but
Oh,
you're
I see Box Man.
you're
What do
navigating
you
the
know, box person?
you're navigating environments that have like horrifying, nasty humans
Oh,
in them.
I see. It looks like Limbo a little bit.
Kind
Okay.
of.
They all look good. I'd play any of those games.
All right, I'm picking Rayman Legends.
Yeah, I'm picking 13 Sentinels.
I figured. All right.
Here we go, baby.
Am
All
I
right, wait.
streaming?
How can we? Do we need a notary or something? How can we authenticate this so that you don't like nerd rage on me
No,
if
no,
I'm
no,
winning?
no. Go open a new tab that is like a
Okay.
random number generator.
Random number generator.
Game for
Great. Thank
March.
you. Wow. You. Excellent. Thank you, random number
Oh
generator.
no, okay. So you're gonna press the button again. Do 1 to 1,000 for extra fun. If the number is even, we do your game. If the number is odd, we do my game.
I've never done this before, so I'm worried about screwing it
You
up.
just
But
have to. You
I
just
just
click
click generate.
generate.
All
Wait,
right.
wait.
What?
Even is Peter. Odd is Patrick.
Peter being Rayman Legends, Patrick being 13
13
Sentinels.
Sentinels. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I can't keep this straight, man. Even is me,
Yeah,
odd is you.
yeah.
Here we go.
Here we go. Hit the button. No!
Yes! I'm the best.
Every time.
Don't fucking play dice against me, anybody.
No kidding. So we'll be playing.
Free money game.
So we will be playing Peter's game for month.
Yes. I'm
Again.
so excited.
I
think this game's
have
great.
I have only won when we jerry rigged it to make sure I won.
What are the odds of winning?
These
coin flip like 5 times?
I think 13 Sentinels and Fallen Order have been on my list for like a while. Maybe
I'm
not.
sad. I wanted to play 13 Sentinels. I'm sad and happy. What's the word for that? Sappy. Had.
All right.
I'm had. Rest in
All
peace.
right.
How much is Rayman Legends?
Stop
cost?
streaming so I can close this.
I don't want to see this any longer.
I have nothing but disdain for that random number generator. All right, we sucked. February was a month of failure. It's because we didn't have those 3 extra days or whatever. We totally would have finished.
Yeah, you're right.
So I'm gonna beat Ghosts of Tsushima, and then I'm gonna beat Rayman Legends, and then
I'm gonna start Rayman Legends right now.
I bet
You can't stop
it's
me.
a Nintendo game, so I assume we're gonna have to be paying full price.
It's a Nintendo game?
Well,
It's by Ubisoft.
Right, but it's on Switch.
Oh.
Is
I
it
was probably
on
gonna
multiple
play
platforms? I would
I
play it
think
on
so.
PlayStation if it was.
I'm probably gonna play it on PC.
PC. S.
This is the hard-hitting journalism you come here for, viewers.
Is Rayman Legends still
Big
free?
names. It's $30 on Steam. That's
Whoa,
probably
whoa,
where I'm
whoa,
gonna
whoa,
play it.
whoa. Rayman Legends is free to keep right now, but not for long. This was March 31st of last year. Thank you for the article.
Yeah, I think it's in a lot of places.
Platforms. It's on PlayStation. All right, that's where I'll be playing.
We should maybe consider Valheim too, because I incidentally I'm just looking at. The only reason I say this is because I see my Steam friends list and it's just a long list of Valheim.
I have
right
like
now.
4
Like,
Steam friends.
Everyone
so.
is in there playing Valheim as we speak. It's wild.
I don't.
Although I'm not terribly interested.
I have watched some of it, and I'm just like.
You don't love like 8-bit poly gameplay?
I don't, and I'm also super not in the mood for a resource managing game. I tried to play Spiritfarer, which is like way more my game.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. You played a lot of games this month.
And is kind of my game, and I hope I'll beat it someday, but like a lot of the game is resource management and like building things and making food for your spirits. And I was like, I just want to have intimate moments with my dead animal friends. Like, I don't want to make them food.
In the game or in real life?
Why not both? But anyways, yeah, Valheim is definitely the streamer game of choice right now.
See ya.
Yeah, I'm not feeling it.
I'm
happy people enjoy it, but I am not interested.
Yeah, me
as much as I want to play. I think we should play some Risk of Rain 2 with John, and like that's it. That's my thought.
Sounds good to me.
That's the whole thought. Anyways, this has been Single Player Campaign, our failed review. We'll be doing another one next month. I hope it will be sooner than the end of the month, because I would like to do these a little more frequently because they bring me joy. And that is all that we strive to do. Anyways, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye, Peter.